Billie Eilish didn't just win the Grammys, she dominated them. 5 trophies in one night, the youngest artist ever to sweep music's biggest awards. The world saw a prodigy crowned. What they didn't see was the cost. Tourette tics, crushing loneliness, and the weight of fame on a teenager. How do you survive when the world wants everything from you, but your own mind won't let you rest? For Billie, success was never simple. It was war. To see how Billie became the voice of a generation, you have to start at the beginning, when childhood meant family, music, and the freedom to make her own path.
We both had like so much fun growing up, but we didn't grow up with money at all. You know, we grew up in a tiny little house, and that was fine.
Billie Eilish grew up in Los Angeles, but not in the way most people imagine. No private schools or Hollywood spotlights were waiting for her. Her parents, Maggie and Patrick, were working artists who believed classrooms weren't the only place kids could learn. So they homeschooled Billie and her brother Finneas, giving them the freedom to create instead of conform.
This is my brother, actually, and we write everything together. He produces all my stuff. We play together, tour together, you know, and like my mom and dad are both here on tour with me, and that's like our whole family, so.
Right.
The Eilish house was less like a home and more like a workshop. Finneas wrote songs in his bedroom, experimenting with sounds, while Billie absorbed everything around her, dance, acting, and music. Their parents weren't pushing fame. They were simply trying to raise kids who could express themselves.
The first show of this tour was in Quebec City, and I started singing The Greatest, which is like one of my favorite songs that Finneas and I have written, and just a song that I just feel really proud of.
But this bubble of creativity also meant Billie lived a life apart from most kids her age. No pep rallies, no cafeteria cliques. Her world was her family, her dog, and whatever song Finneas was working on next. It was safe, but it was also isolating. Still, out of that quiet came something different. 2 teenagers making music with no agenda, no strategy, just for the love of it. And that would soon explode far beyond their little house.
So my brother wrote it, and he kind of just came into my room one night, and he was like, I have this song, and I want you to sing it. I sang it, and it was like weirdly exactly what I was going through at the time, which was weird. I felt like he like jumped into my head and like wrote a song that was from my brain, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
Billie wasn't chasing stardom when it happened. She was just a 13-year-old recording a song her brother wrote, Ocean Eyes, for her dance teacher to choreograph a routine. That was it. No master plan, no label behind her, just a track uploaded to SoundCloud, like millions of other kids were doing at the time. But something strange happened. The song didn't stay small, it spread. First through her friends, then beyond their circle. And suddenly strangers around the world were sharing this haunting voice that didn't sound like anyone else. Within weeks, Ocean Eyes went viral. And then came the knock on the door. Managers, labels, industry insiders. Everyone wanted to know who this teenage girl with the eerie voice was. The same girl who had never set foot in a traditional classroom was now being courted like the next big thing.
It really was just this special thing that was mine. And like people didn't really know I even cared about singing. It was just like something that was special to me.
Yeah.
And also, to me, it felt like an obvious, like it was like, I was like, duh, of course I love singing. It's like my favorite thing in the world.
Success came faster than Billie could process. One minute she was uploading songs to SoundCloud, the next she was living out of suitcases, touring cities she could barely pronounce. Fans lined up in the rain, screaming her lyrics word for word. From the outside, it looked like the dream every teenager would kill for, but the reality was much darker. Fame didn't feel like freedom. It felt like surveillance. Every photo snapped by paparazzi was analyzed. Every outfit became a headline. Strangers on the internet debated her body, her face, her attitude. To them, she wasn't Billie the person. She was Billie the spectacle. And while the world obsessed over her image, Billie was quietly falling apart. The pace of tours left her exhausted. The pressure to perform was relentless. Panic attacks and depression crept in. And the more she tried to keep it hidden, the worse it got. Fame magnified every crack until it felt impossible to breathe.
The most common way that people react is they laugh because they think I'm like trying to be funny, right? They think I'm going like as like a funny move. A couple artists came forward and said, I've actually always had Tourette.
Well, that's what
and
I
I'm not
was
gonna
wondering.
out them because they don't
No,
want to
no,
talk
I
about
understand
it.
that.
But that was actually really interesting
Yeah.
to me because I was like, you do? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Then came the moment she couldn't hide anymore, her Tourette syndrome. It had always been part of her life, something she managed privately. But on stage, in interviews, the tics became visible. Instead of compassion, the internet did what it always does. It clipped, looped, and turned her vulnerability into viral content. Imagine millions of people laughing at something you couldn't control. For Billie, that was the reality.
I mean, even if I created something that I loved and everyone on the planet hated, then I would be fine with it because I liked it. And even if I created something that everyone on the planet loved and I hated, I wouldn't put it out.
Fame had given her a platform, but it had also stripped her of privacy, comfort, and control. She was adored by millions, yet more isolated than ever. For a teenager who just wanted to make music with her brother, the dream was already starting to feel like a nightmare. When most pop stars were chasing bright lights and radio-friendly anthems, Billie Eilish leaned into the darkness. Together with Finneas, she turned their childhood bedroom studio into a laboratory for something strange and new. The result was, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? An album that sounded less like top 40 and more like stepping into a dream you weren't sure you wanted to have. The visuals were just as unsettling. Billie let spiders crawl out of her mouth in music videos. She sang about monsters under the bed, nightmares, and death, dressed in oversized clothes that hid her figure completely. Everything about her presence rejected the polished, glamorous image pop music had sold for decades. And yet, fans connected instantly. Teenagers who felt invisible suddenly saw themselves in the girl who wore her pain like armor. The album wasn't just popular, it was a cultural earthquake. Songs like Bad Guy dominated charts, while critics tried to define her sound and failed. She wasn't just bending genres, she was breaking them. And then the Grammys happened. At just 18, Billie walked in with green hair and oversized clothes and walked out with history in her hands. Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, Best New Artist. She swept the night like a storm, the youngest artist ever to pull it off.
Like the beginning of this year, I think I was the most depressed that I've ever been. I was in Europe for a month and I felt like nothing, there was no point to anything at all. And I don't know how I got out of it. I just think I was patient.
But here's the part people didn't see. While the world was celebrating her, Billie felt the walls closing in. Every cheer, every trophy, every headline only made her feel smaller. On the outside, she was unstoppable. On the inside, she was starting to crumble. Billie wasn't even out of her teens when the tide started to turn. The same people who once praised her for being different suddenly couldn't stop picking her apart. It wasn't about her voice anymore. It was about her body. She had spent years drowning herself in baggy clothes to keep that part of her private. But one photo, just one of Billie in a tight tank top, hit the internet, and chaos followed. Within hours, her body was trending. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Praise on one side, cruel body shaming on the other. Imagine being 18 and waking up to millions of strangers debating your body like it's breaking news. It didn't stop there. The depression she'd been carrying since childhood dug in deeper. Food wasn't just food. It became guilt, punishment, comfort, and control all at once. She's admitted she flirted with eating disorders, desperate to make peace with a body the world wouldn't stop attacking.
This page was kind of like the peak, I would say. I was like 14, 15. I had razors hidden in places, and I had Band-Aids hidden in a little corner of my room, and I always had Band-Aids on my wrists.
At her lowest, she turned to cutting, a private, painful way to release the storm inside.
There was a period of time when I would see online like, oh, she's fake depressed, like she's like faking how she feels, and she's such a fucking, she's like a little rich white girl, and she's and it hurts so bad to see that.
And then there was the online hate. Social media, the same platform that helped launch her, turned into a double-edged sword. Every scroll came with insults, rumors, and fake narratives about who she was or wasn't. Billie once said she read the comments until she realized they were breaking her apart.
I was literally locking myself in the bathroom and making myself bleed because I thought I deserved, you know.
The spotlight didn't dim just because she was struggling. If anything, it grew harsher. She was still just a teenager, but the world treated her like she was bulletproof. The truth? She was unraveling under the weight of it all.
If I'm honest with you, like, the last 2 years were kind of the worst mentally for me. And it sucks to like know that because and feel that and say that because I had such an amazing like career.
Billie had been burned by fame, bullied by the internet, and exhausted by the spotlight. But instead of folding, she flipped the script. Happier Than Ever wasn't just an album. It was a punch in the face to anyone who thought they could define her.
You're gonna go that dark with this song? Are you seriously implying that you jump off the roof? Do you feel okay about a song like that? You don't worry about that?
I feel like it's something I want to have said.
You don't worry about
This song is the reason I don't.
Her sound changed. The whispers and soft beats of her earlier work gave way to bigger, bolder tracks. There was anger, heartbreak, frustration, and she leaned into it all. It was messy, emotional, human. This wasn't music made to please the industry. This was music made to heal herself. The image changed too. Billie went blonde, sharp, fearless. She walked onto the Vogue cover looking nothing like the shy teen the world had first met. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was demanding to be seen on her own terms.
It only feels good because everyone's making it feel good. I think, I mean, I wouldn't even have known if people hadn't been like, congrats. I didn't even know. Because I don't keep up with the numbers because the numbers don't matter to me. But I feel like saying that is like discrediting how grateful I am for the #1 spot. It's great.
Fans watched in awe. The quiet girl from Los Angeles who whispered into a bedroom mic had become a young woman who owned her story loud and unfiltered. Billie wasn't just evolving, she was reinventing what it meant to be a superstar in her own image. Billie Eilish isn't just a pop star, she's a mirror for a generation. Gen Z sees themselves in her shadows, her anxieties, her defiance. Every lyric, every dark video, every messy, honest moment tells them, you're not alone, and you don't have to fit into someone else's mold. Her influence stretches beyond music. Young artists now dare to be strange, vulnerable, and unapologetically themselves because she opened the door. She showed the world that art can be messy, fame can be human, and survival is a victory in itself. And yet, even at the height of her power, the fight isn't over. Fame is still heavy. The pressure still lingers. But Billie's legacy isn't about perfection. It's about resilience, rebellion, and refusing to be tamed. The girl who whispered from her bedroom mic is now a force the world can't ignore. And somehow, surviving it all might be her loudest, fiercest triumph. The world demanded perfection, but she demanded truth. And in that truth, Billie became unstoppable.